Floyd Mayweather may come out of retirement to fight Terence Crawford, but pros are warning him about taking the fight. After seeing how well Terence Crawford handled Errol Spence in his last fight, rumors started going around about Floyd Mayweather potentially coming out of retirement to fight Terence next. Calvin Ford fueled the fire on that one, and he stated, "The question is Floyd going to come out of retirement and fight Crawford?" I remember a statement where he said that if Terence beat Spence, then he would come out of retirement. That's a good one because you've got the old great against the new great. The pay-per-views would be stupid. When questioned about what he thought his chances were, Terence Crawford seemed to be as confident as ever as he said that he would definitely beat Floyd Mayweather. Terence stated, "Me versus anybody, I'm always going to say me." Nate Jones doesn't think that Floyd has any business trying to go up against these younger top fighters.
They say if Floyd was serious about coming back to take on Errol Spence and Crawford, do you think he'll have a chance?
Say that again.
If Floyd came back and came back in the game and took it serious to come back in the game and fight Errol Spence and Crawford, do you think he have a chance?
No.
Think he have a chance with neither one of them?
No. Age, man. Like Michael Jordan have a chance with John Morant. You know what I mean? John Morant. Michael Jordan old. He's old now. He won't be able to stick them guys. Michael Jordan's sticking. Come on, man. Floyd, no. Floyd windows has closed. He don't need to be in a big fight no more. He don't need it. Cause I think he'll get hurt.
He getting big fight money off expeditions. He getting paid more off expeditions than they getting paid for their real fight.
Yeah, keep doing them. But don't fight Errol Spence.
Amir Khan isn't sure about Terence beating Floyd, but he definitely thinks that he'd have a better chance than most in the ring. Amir stated, "Crawford beat him? Maybe not, but would have made him change his boxing style. Crawford has so many styles. If he's fighting you and is not getting the better of you, he'll maybe change to southpaw or to orthodox. Then he can try to outbox you. A guy with all those styles, it's hard to know what style he'll bring to the fight." I'd have loved to seen Crawford in against someone like Mayweather because that's the only person that may have broken him. Carl Frampton knew that his opinion was going to cause some uproar amongst the fans, but he really thinks that Terence would have beaten Mayweather as well. Carl stated, "There's a big statement that I want to make here. The fighter of our generation, everyone will probably agree, is Floyd Mayweather. I think that Terence Crawford is now the fighter of our generation. That perhaps beats Floyd Mayweather at his best. At welterweight, I genuinely believe that." Shane Mosley believes that Terence could hold his own against Floyd, but there's specific conditions he thinks it would have to happen with. Shane stated, "Crawford hits hard. Crawford is very strong. He has long arms, southpaw, right-handed, and he's coming to get you. I could see Mayweather outboxing him, but I can also see Crawford catching him with one of those funny uppercuts. Money Mayweather, I think Crawford beats. Pretty Boy, I think maybe Pretty Boy because he's more aggressive." Jeff Mayweather understands why people are comparing the two fighters, but he still thinks that Floyd in his prime was greater than Crawford. Jeff stated, "Crawford is a great fighter, and he did something that I think was shocking to almost everyone. Because that was really his biggest fight, and basically everyone thought that fight was going to give and take both ways, and it only went one way. Floyd's obviously not a one-dimensional fighter. Floyd's IQ and force defense was immaculate. If they're talking about 135, I think the fight would even be greater for both of them because that's probably where they're both at their best. 135, he still had his, he still was actually fighting with his power more than with his brain because as he went to the higher weight, the more he started to fight, the smarter he started to fight." Mike Tyson loves watching Terence Crawford, and he believes that Terence can beat anyone they put in the ring with him.
Fight. Great fight, right? 50-50. I want to say Crawford. Why everybody say 50-50?
You don't think it's 50-50?
60-40, but you gonna tell him which one?
You think Crawford can stop him?
Crawford can stop anybody. I'm not saying he can't, he's going to, but he can't.
Before Terence stepped into the ring to fight Errol Spence, Keith Thurman already thought that Terence managed to do something in his career that Floyd was never able to do. Keith stated, "These are two undefeated champions. The real thing is that Thurman was not supposed to slip up in 2019. If I was an undefeated champion, we would have been unified titles together. Two champions of this caliber, undefeated, going to unify the entire division, doing something unprecedented, something that Floyd Mayweather never accomplished in his career. This is what our generation needs. They need that to gain the status. They're both future Hall of Famers, but somebody's just gonna have a few more words to say on their plaque at the end of the day. That's what fighting is all about. Shakur Stevenson definitely thought that Terence would be able to handle different versions of Floyd, but he doesn't think that Floyd makes mistakes. Shakur stated, "I think that's interesting. It depends on what Floyd is in the ring. There are different versions of Floyd. Bud now versus the version of Mayweather that fought Canelo, man, that's a hell of a fight. It's hard to say though because Bud is a southpaw. He can punch with both hands. It would only take one mistake from Floyd. But Floyd is the king of not making mistakes, so it's hard to say. I don't feel like I could sit down here and tell you a real answer." Stephen A. Smith believes that Floyd Mayweather is a different caliber of boxer though, and he loves what he was able to do during his reign.
Floyd Money Mayweather was undefeated for the last half of his career with one hand. He constantly broke his hand. And so because he broke his hand, he would go into a ring knowing he had no shot at knocking somebody out and literally walked in the ring and said, "I'm gonna embarrass you and humiliate you by showing the world you can't hit me."
Brian McIntyre knows that Mayweather might be the smartest fighter in the ring, but he still thinks that Terence has more fight in him and would win. Brian stated, "There are two things. For one, Crawford is like my son, so I'm going to always go with him. Terence has that dog in him. Terence didn't get to where he is now overnight. It's taken years and years. But if you put Bud in there in his prime with Mayweather in his prime, then of course Mayweather is going to be the smarter one. But I think Bud will have more dog in him." Jim Lampley thinks that both fighters are some of the greatest in boxing, but he thinks that there's more to look at if they were to face each other. Jim stated, "Floyd Mayweather is an all-time great. Terence Crawford, I think, will turn out to be an all-time great. So it's very hard to pick, and I think it would depend on what moment in Mayweather's career and what moment in Crawford's career are we talking about that taking place." It became more and more clear that he could win that way against anybody. It became more and more clear that he built his audience not necessarily so much from the style that he did in the ring as from the style of what he did on social media. That's a different formula from the one that Crawford is using, so I wouldn't want to pick that fight until I saw at what moment in their careers such a thing would take place. It's always dangerous to pick utterly hypothetical fights that are never going to take place except somewhere in your mind. Tim Bradley, on the other hand, doesn't think that Floyd would stand a chance against the Terence we just saw. Bradley stated, "Terence Crawford would beat Floyd Mayweather. I'm telling you right now, he would beat him. Crawford, a master thinker just like Floyd, has the advantage that he not only can fight orthodox, but is versatile and can fight in the southpaw stance. What happens when you have a guy just as smart as you are and able to make adjustments like Crawford? I just think that he'll have enough to beat Floyd. He'll have enough to gain respect and hurt Floyd too. Crawford, when he touches you, you're gonna feel it." Leonard Ellerby didn't want to rain on Terence's parade after his big win against Errol Spence, but he didn't want to entertain the idea of him facing Floyd Mayweather. Leonard stated, "Stop it. Let that man enjoy his big win. He deserves all the kudos he's getting now. Not surprised at all coming from him. That's his guy. I'm not a fan of mythical matchups at all, but he is tripping." If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.